In the dawn of empires, when Assyria's dust still lay across Mesopotamia, a new name would arise from the hills of Persis. A king who would not merely conquer lands but rewrite what empire could mean. He would call himself King of Kings. Yet he would be known for mercy as much as for might. This is the story of Cyrus the Great, the man who forged Persia from tribes, toppled Median rule, shattered Lydia, and entered Babylon as liberator. How did a once obscure prince become the founder of the greatest empire of his age? What vision drove his conquests? How did his legacy outlast his tomb? Come, step beyond legend into the steel and soul of ancient Persia. Cyrus was born somewhere between 590 and 580 BCE, likely in the region of Persis or southern Media. He was son to Cambyses I of Anshan and Mandain, daughter of the Median king Astyages. At that time, the Medes were dominant. Persia, Persis, was subordinate, a vassal region, with Persians serving under Median overlords. In 559 BCE, Cyrus inherited the throne of Anshan upon his father's death. But Persia was not yet independent, it lay under the shadow of Media. Within a few years, discontent brewed among the Medes. According to historians like Herodotus, Cyrus fostered alliances and persuaded dissident Median nobles to revolt. In 550 BCE, Cyrus marched against his grandfather Astyages, defeated him, and annexed Media, declaring himself ruler not just of Persia but of the broader Iranian lands. This moment was more than a coup, it was the birth of the Achaemenid Empire. Persia now stood not as a subject, but as a power. Cyrus's reign would span 2 decades of rapid, daring expansion. But before the wars, he would define a method. Conquer, yes, but also integrate, respect, and rule. Not with terror alone, but with vision. Between Persia and Asia Minor lay Lydia, ruled by the fabulously wealthy King Croesus. In 547 BCE, Croesus attacked the newly emergent Persian power, hoping to stifle its rise. But Cyrus responded with a bold campaign. Using swift cavalry and clever tactics, he routed the Lydians, captured Sardis, and absorbed Lydia into his domain. By defeating Lydia, Cyrus gained control of Anatolian trade routes, gold, and influence over the Greek cities along the coast. Among Cyrus's greatest triumphs was Babylon. In 539 BCE, he approached Babylon with a reputation both mighty and merciful. Instead of laying waste, the Persians devised a bold strategy, diverting the Euphrates River so the army could enter via the riverbed. Under cover of night, troops slipped into Babylon, opened its gates, and the city fell without great bloodshed. Nabonidus, the Babylonian king, surrendered. Cyrus made grand statements. He called himself King of Babylon, King of Sumer and Akkad, King of the 4 corners of the earth. He issued what is now known as the Cyrus Cylinder, promising respect to local customs and religions. Among his acts, he permitted the Jewish exiles in Babylon to return to Jerusalem and rebuild their temple, an act which earned him reverence in Jewish tradition. Cyrus continued pushing east, into Central Asia, and consolidating power over wide lands. He instituted the satrapy system, putting governors, satraps, in various provinces, while retaining a central oversight. He built roads, efficient communication, and allowed local customs to continue under imperial umbrella. His military innovations, combining cavalry, archers, and swift maneuver, allowed him to control a multi-ethnic empire far greater than his homeland. Cyrus's conquests were not free of resistance. Some regions expected harsh treatment, but Cyrus often used a mix: shows of force, but swift clemency, integration, and respect. His reputation for tolerance encouraged cities to surrender rather than resist. Yet, war remained real. Armies marched, walls fell, and rivals watched in envy. Cyrus's death in 530 BCE, while campaigning among Central Asian tribes, Massagetae, or in unclear circumstances, ended the man's life, but not his work. He was succeeded by his son Cambyses II, who would carry Persia to new territories like Egypt. When Cyrus died, his empire did not collapse. His systems held. Cambyses II ruled, expanded into Egypt, and maintained the vast Persian imperial structure. The Achaemenid Empire would endure another century and more, until Alexander the Great's conquests in 330 BCE. But the bedrock Cyrus laid: tolerance, structure, merit, remained the Persian legacy. His tomb in Pasargadae remains a symbol, visited and revered. The Cyrus cylinder is often seen as an early human rights charter, projecting the image of a ruler not simply by force, but by principle. To later Persian dynasties, Parthians, Sassanids, Cyrus became a model, a founding icon. Though empires would rise and fall, his name remained. In Judaism, Christianity, Persian law, and modern memory, Cyrus the Great endures. Cyrus's legacy is paradoxical. A conqueror who is also liberator, he showed that empire need not mean oppression. He set precedent for rulership by justice, inclusion, and legitimacy. He demonstrated that diversity could be strength, not weakness. His satrap model would influence governance for centuries. Local autonomy under central oversight. His approach to conquered peoples restoring their temples, allowing their customs softened resistance and built loyalty. His influence extended to how later empires viewed legitimacy. The idea of divine favor, the ruler as shepherd, not tyrant, became an ideal. Cyrus's memory shaped not only Persia but the world. His kindness to Jews is commemorated in the Hebrew Bible, where he is deemed the anointed who allowed return from exile. His empire's roads and communication inspired successors: Achaemenids, Hellenistic, Roman to modern, but beneath all, a warning. Even greatness forged with mercy must guard against hubris. Many kings loved power, but few matched Cyrus's balance of strength and tolerance. Empires built on fear may fall by fear. Empires built on respect endure in memory. So, when you hear the name Cyrus the Great, hear not just a warrior's roar but the echo of a king who forged a world, and whose shadow still stretches through cities, scrolls, and the dreams of rulers to come.